Hi, my name is Kaydence, and welcome to Still I Grow. This is a space rooted in honesty, where we let go of the need for perfection and give ourselves permission to meet life as it is. Everyone's stories carry moments of challenge, moments that reshape how we see ourselves and the world around us. These moments don't break us, they build us. Growth is rarely ever linear, but rather a conscious choice to continue becoming. This podcast is for those navigating uncertainty, finding meaning in complexity, and choosing to grow, even when it feels uncomfortable. No matter where you are on the journey of life, here it is. Still we grow. Hi everyone, this feels very unfamiliar and weird and strange and new, and I love it. I've never done audio and visual together, so this is new. Let's jump right in. I'm going to do an intro first. So hey y'all, some of you may know me from my other podcast, so welcome back. But some of you may be new, so welcome. I'm glad to have you here at Still I Grow. And let's learn about me a little bit. So my full name is Kaydence Gauthier. I am an artist, actor, creator, and outdoor enthusiast, born and raised here in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta in Calgary, Mohkinstsis. My full bio will be available on the website, which will be available soon, probably when this episode comes up. That link will be in our Instagram bio, which if you haven't followed it, which would be weird because it's probably how you got here, the Instagram is still.igrow. But I will just share some quick facts about myself. I've been an actor for almost 5 years now. But I grew up being a competitive Irish dancer, so performance is nothing new to me. Same with art. Art is nothing new to me. I have also created and hosted another podcast, which some of you may know. It's called Project Honesty. It's still on the internet if you want to go check it out. I am a true believer in transparency and acknowledge the power that vulnerability has, and we are going to talk about that in further episodes. And I love being outside. This is actually the biggest section in the About Me part, because I truly just love being outside, and I have the privilege of living just 1 hour away from some of the best mountains on the planet. And I am grateful that I have grown up in this beautiful part of the country, as the outdoors and the Rocky Mountains have shaped my life and the person that I am. I love day hiking, but my true love for the outdoors started with overnight backpacking, where I get to experience true disconnection, isolation, and the amazing home which I find in the Canadian Rockies. So we're going to talk about my inspiration behind this podcast. After deciding that I didn't want to continue with Project Honesty, which that video, that's the last video on Project Honesty. I talk more about why I decided to end it, so you can go check that out there. I wanted to have a podcast where I could talk about the things that truly interested me, things that can be light or heavy, but things that display a true human experience that is real, raw, and highlight the beautiful imperfections of what it means to be human. So, for example, there's a reason I'm wearing no makeup, because I believe we don't see enough real people on social media and online, and I wanted to share the true version of myself with you guys. I think it'd be a little bit hypocritical if I didn't. And I hope that by me doing this and putting myself on the internet with no makeup and hair is not done, I hope this can inspire you guys to kind of do the same, embrace who you truly are. That's something important. Also, want to note that if you see me looking down here, my notes are down here, but I want to look at you guys, I promise. I also wanted a podcast that was more relaxed and felt more intimate. That's why I also started doing audiovisual, because, as much as it's unfamiliar to me, I also think it's important for you guys to see my face when I talk about certain things, because I know that I love having face-to-face discussions with people, so that was a really, really important thing to me. I also, I wanted to focus on topics that felt very important to me, but I felt that these topics didn't fit into the vibe of Project Honesty. So, such as my journey of my sexuality, going really in depth into that was something that I didn't think fit the vibe of Project Honesty. I want to talk about relationships, mental health struggles in real time, my passion for the arts and the outdoors, and overall things that are just easy for me to talk about, that I really find my love and my passion for in talking about them. And so that was something that pushed me to create Still I Grow. Speaking of Still I Grow, let's talk about the name a little bit. So Still, the still part of the title is highlighting that despite everything, the world, people, the good shit, the bad shit, and just everything in between, there is still a way forward, to reconcile, to learn, to unlearn, to adapt, to feel, to find, to discover. And this leads into the second part of the title, to grow. Growth is essential to who we are as human beings. Growth to me means healing, patience with others and myself, mistakes, pain, grief, retrying, and figuring it out. Because that's what it's all about. Just figuring shit out. That's one of the beautiful imperfections of the human experience. Now let's cover some goals for the podcast and how these goals may change over time, just knowing some things about my life, because I want to keep transparent, and I think this is the best way to do it. So again, I want to post weekly episodes, audio visual, so that you can see me too. Just to note that literally, again, I've never edited videos like this. Like, I've never had to do this. I've always, it's been one or the other. So my editing for like the next few weeks / months may be a little choppy. Just know that I am learning and I'm trying. So just a disclaimer for that. So how these goals may change is backpacking. Obviously, number one, I plan to be away for some of the summer. Praying I get the permits that I want. For summer hiking and backpacking, so that might affect posting. I say might because a lot of the stuff when I'm away will already be pre-recorded, so you're gonna just be hearing me basically a week in advance to things, so yeah, I don't miss anything. I also am moving. I graduate high school in June, and after that, in like end of August, September-ish, I'll be moving to either Vancouver or Toronto. Now, of course, the girl from Calgary, one of like the easiest cities in this country to live in, decides to move to the most expensive and hard cities to live in. So that's choice. I have to make it. Not yet. It's very school dependent. But that will most definitely affect posting for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. But we will cross that bridge when we get to it. And speaking of high school, I'm also a senior right now, and my final exams this year count for a lot of my grade. So this might affect one episode. I personally don't think it will, again, because I'll pre-record it, but if it does, that is why. And lastly is acting. On here, I will talk a lot about acting and my acting career, because, again, it's something I'm so passionate about, and finally, this is the outlet where I can talk about it. I have a couple projects that are going on right now that are running concurrently for, like, the first 6 months of 2026, so that may affect some things, but I don't think it will. Again, pre-recording. But if something does come up, just know it's because I take my acting career seriously, and that is a focus of mine, considering the fact that I want to make acting my life. So, just to be transparent with you guys. Going over the general structure of this podcast, we're going to do weekly episodes. They will be varying in length because we're also going to start having guests on here. I don't know when, probably February to March when I start figuring the whole editing thing out, and once I figure the whole editing thing out, then I can do the whole guest thing. Makes sense? So the typical episode will be between 15 minutes to an hour. That is topic dependent and guest dependent, that might change, that might not change. We'll see. But typically, I knew for Project Honesty, my episodes were typically in the window between 20 to 45 minutes. So, it'll depend. We will be releasing on Spotify and YouTube for now. I'm planning on releasing on a couple other platforms, but I have to figure that out. Because I haven't had the time to, but I promise I want to get this on other platforms. And overall, the structure of these episodes is going to be pretty easy and relaxed. I'm sitting in a comfortable chair. I have a blanket down here, I want it to feel like we're just having a conversation, casual conversation. Now, you might be thinking, Kaydence, you're talking to a camera on a tripod right now. You are absolutely correct. But I still want it to feel intimate, and I still want it to feel like we're just best friends. We're just talking. So that is why I structured it like this. Now, covering some of the themes and the topics. Now, these are topics that drove me to make the name. So these themes came up way before I actually made Still I Grow the name of this podcast. So the name is very intertwined with what I'm going to be talking about on here. So these are just a few of them. I have them in a little list, but there will be more, I promise. So we'll be talking about girlhood, sexuality, mental health, nature, hiking and backpacking. So we're going to do freaking trail reviews. We're going to do gear review, all the good stuff. We're going to learn to love ourselves. Now, I know that's a very general theme and idea, but I promise it'll make more sense. You just got to keep listening. We're going to talk about feminism because feminist, if you didn't know. We're going to talk about reconciliation and Indigenous issues. As a white person, I've taken Indigenous education and educating myself very seriously, and I think that building awareness on Indigenous issues, which aren't commonly talked about in the media, is very, very important. So that is something that I will also bring light to on my platform. And we're also going to talk about life in the arts. Spoiler, that's basically the first official episode after this one, is we're going to be talking about art. So, you're welcome. Now to conclude this episode, I know it's short, it's just a little intro, but I just wanted you guys to get a vibe of what's happening here at Still I Grow. So I'm going to read the description. Now, this description took me a while to write, because, a couple days, because I'll write a sentence, go to bed, look at it the next day, write a few words, and that's kind of my process. So that is what took me to write this description. So I want to read it to you before we end, just so you can see if this podcast is right for you. We as humans all face challenges in our lives. There is no question that every single being on this planet encounters moments that feel larger than us. Moments that leave us uncertain of our path and the choices that we could make next. I have always believed that one of the greatest things that makes us human is the challenges that we overcome. Those hard moments shape the way that we see not only ourselves, but the world around us, and more often than not, they push us to grow. That growth is rarely linear, but it is always intentional. This podcast is a space where we choose honesty over perfection, learn to be strong while remaining gentle, and begin to see challenges not as something to fear, but as an opportunity. This new chapter in my podcasting career is for those learning to trust their own path, for those finding meaning in the messy middle, and for those who choose to grow, despite the challenges that may lie ahead. As you move on with your day, or whatever you were doing before this or going to do after this, take a moment to sit with what resonated with you in this episode, and leave the rest behind. Remember, growth doesn't have to be loud or obvious, so take life at your own pace. Meet life where it is, and always choose growth. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on our Instagram and TikTok, which is at still.igrow. It'll be in the description below. Spotify and YouTube have the same name. It's literally just the title. And our website is coming soon, I promise. Hoping to have that up in around this recording time, but maybe a few days after. We'll see. Thank you for listening.